आपसे बात किए बिना नहीं जाऊंगी। मेरी गाड़ी में चलें?
That was an answer for Russell Arnott. What people do on the honeymoon?
That was the question from Russell Arnott. Now, if we know anything about it or not, at least what these three players have lost would tell you what is it we have missed, haven't missed a honeymoon.
I'm lost for words. I'm truly lost for words. Uh, 18 for 1. Good Lord. So here's one. Here's another. And Nissanka. So Nissanka, Asalanka and Rajitha will tell you what they have missed really. Back to the game. That's been on the pads. And another boundary. Not a great delivery. That was too straight. That was just going down the leg side a little bit. With the mid-wicket area open, it became quite easy. Good pitch. Just the roll of the wrist. With that angle, it became quite easy for the batter to put it away. The Ramatra moves to 10. He goes ahead of Ibrahim. Both batters have looked good. The surface have looked good. Every time it's been slightly offline, they have pounced. Right, they got a man down to backward square leg. Short fine leg comes into the circle. Yep, 6 runs off the over, 22 for 1. For 1. We're going to see a change of bowling. We're going to see Pallekele coming on. Well, we've heard in the matchups that the Afghan batsmen, well, they do have this known talking. Just before we go there, let's take a look at this. This is Sri Lanka for you. Plenty of wildlife, wonderful place to visit. And if you're thinking about it, I think you should come. Not just the wildlife, as I've said before. Beautiful beaches, lovely culture, good food, and friendly people. Just on the subject of Pallekele and the Afghan batsman, what we've heard is that, as per the matchups, shows that the Afghan batsmen have this vulnerability against left-arm spin. They haven't scored, or they have been scoring at little over 3.5 runs an over. And almost every 4 overs, they've been dismissed by a left-arm spinner. This has been a good change for me in the Sri Lankan squad. Straight away with Pallekele, bowling the first one right on the money. Sri Lankan fans celebrating as always. So yeah, I think Afghanistan will have also worked on their balancing strength against the left arm. But that's a spot on, Roshan. Not to be, concedes his first boundary. Ibrahim Zadran hitting him square off the wicket. But it's not an easy time to bowl with the power plays on. The Sri Lankan captain bringing on the young left-arm spinner. But it wasn't a great delivery. It was the length that was short, so allowed him to get on the back foot. So let's look at his field. He's got a long off out and he's got the backward square leg out. Those are the two fielders. That's better. That's much better. Bit more effort into that. You could hear the grunt, quicker delivery. 87 Ks that time.
Yeah, and he's had a good game against Australia that had come visit Sri Lanka just recently. He got Smith out. So he is certainly one to watch out for. And considering the vulnerability of the Afghanistan batters against the left arm, based on the stats that you just shared with us, it's important that Afghanistan play with caution.
Last ball of the over. Push down the ground for a single. 5 off the first over, 27 for 1.
Twenty-seven for 1. We see another bowling change. Asitha Fernando. A skiddy fast bowler. Quite an aggressive, skiddy, quickish. And hurry the batter.
He'll have one slip, a pretty wide slip. This is over number 7. Asitha Fernando's list A career. Been good in the list A. He's been good at Test cricket.
He's been brought in as a replacement for Lahiru Kumara, who's bowled so well and who's bowled fast. Good ball. Well fielded, I'll reckon. Though they conceded a run, but it was good that the fielder was able to reach out to it and stop it from being run down for a boundary. Look at this. That's a good effort from Hasaranga. You can't keep him out.
Goes through him. Just a hint back into the right-hander. That was Rahmat Shah just driving rather loosely. There was a definite gap between bat and pad. Just went through him. Almost cleaned him up.
That's very lucky for Rahmat Shah. Almost onto the stump. You will ask, how could that miss the stump? But a loose shot from the caliber of a player that Rahmat Shah is. Playing away from his body, kind of so lazy on the shot and leaving a big gap.
He's hitting that bat hard. That's 140. That's about the pace he generally bowls. He can bowl a little bit quicker. The average speed is in the high 130s. Can get close to that 145 mark.
Yeah, I like the way Afghanistan pace sensation Hamid Hassan puts it in the com box, usually fast and furious. So he's been bowling really well to me. He's putting a lot of energy into it. That's what really brings you into the game. Enthusiasm.
Again, it's a good length. Pace is up. It's the 4th ball. He's started to get his pace up. Asitha Fernando. What is important about him is the control that he needs to have. Needs to be a thinking bowler, and he is a thinking bowler. Inside edge, inside edge. Another dot ball.
And he's really troubled Rahmat. He's been bowling really good length to Rahmat. Look at this once again. Silva. Inside edge.
It's the last ball of the over. It's been a good start for Asitha Fernando. He's bowled 4 dot balls. He's just conceded a single. Needs to finish well. Goes through the covers. Plenty of width outside the off stump. Pace on the ball. Loved him to extend his arms and get a boundary. It's a good way to finish it. 32 for 1. For 1. Man to go, the dangerous. Manolo Gurbaz dismissed early for 5. Ibrahim Zadran, centurion in the first ODI. Rahmat Shah, half centurion in the first and second match. Out in the middle together, their partnership at this moment, 26. 4 bowlers used by Sri Lanka so far. Pallekele, first time we're seeing him in the series, into his second over. Happy to take the single. Ibrahim Zadran, as I say, a very good afternoon to Parviz Maharuf. Afternoon to you, Tino. Afternoon to all our viewers joining us all over the world. It's a lovely shot. Final ball of the last over from Asitha Fernando. The length was quite full. And Rahmat Shah, he's been in superb form right throughout this series. Caressing into the extra cover for a boundary. Full toss this time. Missed out there, Rahmat Shah. Dunitwalage playing his first game in this series. Made his debut during the concluded Australian series a few months ago, which Sri Lanka won. Fantastic beginnings. This will be a test for him. Very good pitch to bat on. 2 experienced players who have been scoring a lot of runs in the series. And that is a beautiful backfoot drive. Short, a bit of width. A man in this kind of form will take advantage of that. Definitely a long hop by Dunitwalage. Short way outside the off stump, which is very slow. There's ample time for the batsman to adjust to the length. Beautiful shot. Just had to pick the gap. As a super cover is in the circle, as only 2 fielders allowed outside the ring, which is at the moment is long off and deep square leg for young Pallekele. After that deliveries, skipper Dasun Shanaka and Wanindu Hasaranga just having a quick word with the young man. He's had such a good series, this man. Just saw his figures there, half centuries in both innings. If anything, if I'm going to be ultra critical, should have carried on. 52 and 58 respectively in the first and second ODIs. And the most disappointing thing about those numbers is the manner in which he got out. Running down the wicket in the first innings, past 15, nicked, caught key ball for Seema. Slog sweep in the second innings, just at a time where he just needed to back through a few overs. Eight overs gone, 37 for 1. Pallekele International Cricket Stadium has played host to the first two and of course the final game in this series. Pretty decent start from Sri Lanka today.
Shah, the two dismissals in this series, you mentioned about. At least one of the innings he could have gone on to a bigger one. I definitely think so too. That was in for a big one. Unfortunately, two aggressive strokes was a downfall. As you said, couple of half centuries. At the moment, there's only two results possible in this series. Either Afghanistan win or a draw. And for the wonderful
Performance so far, I think Ramat Shah and Ibzaim Zadran, those two have been commended. The way they batted, the intent shown, and the batsmen who got out, Ramla Gurbaz, have been fantastic with the bat.
With the glove. Straight away the first warning being called by umpire Nitin Menon for Asitha Fernando. I've seen that in the past as well with Asitha. Not following through in the not through dangerous zone. He needs to move out straight away. And straight away Dasun Shanaka calling the shots as well. Moving the first slip. Yeah, it's the second step. The second step which is causing trouble, and Nitin Menon is not going to like it. Especially the dryness of this surface. You need to have the bowlers away. You cannot have the bowlers running down the danger line and getting any disadvantage. And team batting second. Outside edge for a single.
Parviz, you mentioned the dryness of the surface. You were out there for the pitch report, of course, today. Fresh pitch, but this looks a little bit drier. My question to you is, when we listened to the pitch report on day one from Russell Arnold, he said 280. You said 260 today. Why is that?
Mainly because of the dryness. Even the first game I did have a look myself. It looked much more, wouldn't dry that this much. And there's lots of crack on top of it, but the tinge light grass on top are holding on to it. So I reckon with the new ball, it's the best time to bat. As soon as the ball loses the hardness and the shine, that's where I think the batsman's work is going to get cut out. And the spinners in the middle overs will dictate turns. I'm not going to say that it's going to turn square, but it will turn enough to create enough doubt in the batsman's mind. To back of the mind, they know, right, one or two is turning, I've got to be careful. Also, this reminds me a bit of the series what we played when we two commentated the Sri Lanka Zimbabwe series. Very similar conditions. That was played in January, this is played in November. A lot of similarities.
That's well bowled. Hard into length. Now, definitely saw on that Hoover, there's a lot more cracks or going to be spares here. He's hit the stumps, unfortunately. Batsman's back in his box. But yeah, definitely the cracks, we saw them there. And we've seen throughout the series when the spinners have come on, even without so much assistance for them, just the pace off the ball has made it difficult for the batsmen to carry on playing confidently like they had been before. And of course, Sri Lanka getting lots of middle wickets with the spinners in that second match. So definitely a role to play for the spinners, and that's why we've seen Theekshana come into the attack early for Sri Lanka in the last two games.
For the fast ball in the middle overs, I think it's going to be lots of cutters into the pitch. It's going to be the fair forward. Nicely played. Nicely played. Played late. Will it be boundary? Nah. Good fielding by Dunit Vellalage at deep square leg. Saved 2 runs for Sri Lanka. 9 gone. 41 for 1.
Such a beautiful setting. Here in Pallekele, that's the big traditional scoreboard. That's right in front of your screens there. Commentary box to the left, the big grandstand and VIP area. Opposite that, there's beautiful surrounds here
and Pallekele. I'm sure you'll have a couple of days off, Tino, before you head back to Zimbabwe. Lovely golf course, lovely areas to visit.
Yeah, unfortunately, no days off after. I'll be making my way tomorrow evening, but I have had a couple of days on the golf course. Victoria Country Club, beautiful place. Nicely played. Good length. That one's just kept a bit low. What we've seen with his technique, sometimes when the ball's a little bit straighter and fuller, he likes to go across the line, but that's what we're talking about. Gorgeous part of the country here. Mahawadi River, which makes its way past the side of the stadium here. 12 ball now. Interesting, the last couple of balls, one kept low, the other one going through to the keeper on the bounce.
Because of the dryness of the pitch, I think. In the previous two games, especially the first game, we saw lots of carry for the faster bowlers with the new ball. But in this occasion, the last two deliveries, just keeping it a bit low. Early signs that the wicket is slow and dry. It's going to be tough work for the batsman. I said 260, I still believe 260 will be a very good score to defend. And what's Kasun doing well is hitting that back of the length. He's just concentrating on that. And off the pitch, the ball seems to some go away, some come back into the batsman. He's not bothered about any movement. He's just hitting the right areas, I think, which is the right way to go in this pitch.
Certainly been the most outstanding of the Sri Lankan seamers in these three matches. Slow ball. Will just be the single. Very controlled in how he goes about his bowling. Gets the ball to shape away a little bit from the right-hander. But it's his consistency that has stood out for me the most.
Absolutely, and also losing 3 tosses. It's not going to help out for Sri Lankan cause as well. I'm pretty sure all the batsmen would have been licking their lips to have a hit early dose in this pitch, in these conditions, especially when the sun is out. Best time to bat. Unfortunately, that's when Shanaka missing out on all 3 tosses. And hence, Sri Lanka is failing in all 3 games. It's going to be tough work. Runs on the board, keeps the pressure on the batsman always. It's not going to be easy with Afghanistan bringing in another spinner, which is Noor Ahmed, who we saw during the LPL last year. Bowled really well. And these are the things that Pallekele Stadium possesses. A swimming pool, a lovely nets, and plenty of activities in and around Pallekele International Stadium, which has been well maintained. 10 gone, 42 for 1.
First power play done. Umpire Nitin Menon of India will signal the start of the second power play. It's been the lowest scoring one for Afghanistan, who of course have won the toss and batted all 3 times in the series. 60 for no loss in the first ODI, 52 for 1 in the second. Today, 42 for 1. The Lankan bowlers have been a lot better early on.
Asitha Fernando replacing Lahiru Kumara have been decently well so far. Bowling is 3rd over, 8 runs being given away. With the power play package. Started well by Rajitha and Ramla Gurbaz dragging on inside edge of Kasun. It's a pleasing stroke down the ground. It was off the line by Kasun Dunitha Lalage. Didn't start that well. And another long hop through the extra cover for a boundary. It's a steady start by Afghanistan, 43 for 1 after 10. I'm pretty sure think tank would be happy with the effort so far.
Yeah, we've had 2 contrasting starts to the innings for Afghanistan in the series.
Really good one in the first ODI. Just talked about their power play score, 60 for no loss. Lost their first wicket on 84. Then it slowed down when the spinners came on. Sri Lanka struggling in that game to get early wickets. Second ODI was the opposite. Even though they did okay when the seamers were on early, Afghanistan's batsmen then lost wickets in clumps to the spinners. So that brought them back again. But batting conditions really good. If you put a partnership together, you can still get a total.
Partnership is the word, I think, even for the bowlers. And that's exactly what in the last game, Dhananjaya Silva, who did really well. He bowled his 10 overs on the trot for 37 runs, and the rest of the bowlers just wanted to give him the support. And in the end, Sri Lanka's effort was fantastic. And quite unfortunate, it was rained off. That's what Sri Lanka needs, bowl in partnerships. It's not going to be easy because it's very true. The two batsmen are in good form. Partnership so far, 39 or 50. Just about hanging in there. Believing every time. One wicket will always bring you most of the time the second as well. Just creating that pressure. So I think that's where I think Dasun Shanaka would be telling his troops, just keep on there, hanging in there. When things start happening up in Pallekele, it happens very quickly.
He's had a tough time with the toss. These last three matches, Dasun Shanaka had to revert to being forced to bowl first in each of the matches. Good pace.
Very good pace, 136 clicks by Asitha Fernando. It's Rahmat Shah in this series. I would like to take your brains, mate. As a batsman, the front foot too stable.
Yeah, well, what he does is he's got a trigger movement back and across that front foot, then comes forward. What he's not doing is then making a concerted effort to get forward again. You can see the line of those balls, third, fourth, fifth stump. And if you have a look at that from side on, you'll see that his foot after the initial movement doesn't go any further forward. Plays from the crease. And that's what he struggled with. 11 gone, 46 for 1.
For 1 after 11 overs. 4 bowlers being used so far. 2 spinners, 2 fast bowlers. You mentioned about Rahmat Shah. I think we were spot on there. As a fast bowler, looking at those images, I would always want to bring the ball back in. Second movement is quite stable. It's not covering his crease and playing from the crease. I think that's where I think Sri Lankans have done their homework quite well with Rahmat Shah, with the faster bowlers.
Just to talk a bit more about his technique, he's probably, for me, the most technical batsman. Technically correct batsman, should I say, in the Afghanistan lineup. But he does go through patches and phases where he doesn't move his feet a lot, and you'll find he nicks off a fair bit as well outside that off stump for the exact same reason. There's something that in the back of his mind, and something that he's going to have to work with and address, because he bats early on. The ball's going to be nipping around, a bit of extra pace and bounce, and he can find himself in trouble. Second ODI, nicked one that fell short, I think, of the slips. He went past that outside edge.
Good bouncer by Kasun Rajitha. It was nicely angled towards the body, and it was quite quick. Even before Rahmat Shah wanted to respond, it hit the glove, I think, and an easy catch to Kusal Mendis. Take a look at this. Good bouncer, skidding on, and movement as well after pitching.
Yeah, it was quick. It looked like in the end he was almost thinking of pulling out of the shot, but what a brilliant first ball up. Quick, short at the batsman. Didn't allow him to get out the way. Rahmat Shah's gone for 22. Afghanistan, 47 for 2. Captain will make his way out to the middle. Hashmatullah Shahidi, 53 innings, a good average of 33. Yet to cross the century mark, and he's got 13 half centuries, but he's a man who walk in. There's just a bit of exciting stuff going on in the middle.
That seemed back a lot. Look at where it pitched and it ended up. This is how well Kasun have been bowling the last game as well as this game. An easy catch to Kusal Mendis. Before Ramachar reacted, he hit the glove. I like this. Straight away coming around the wicket to Hashmatullah Shahidi. Kasun 136 clicks. Just tied the knot a couple of days before. The pace is up.
Oh, pace is up, and you'll know, Maha, as a fast bowler, you get a wicket, you just get that little bit of extra energy and a bit of a boost. I want you to tell me why that is, actually, because I've seen that several times. 130, 132, suddenly a wicket, and you got another 5Ks. Where are they coming from?
2 days ago was his happiest day in his life. Tied the knot. Happy man coming out. Free body, free mind. And straight away hitting that length with good pace. And this is where all of a sudden Kasun has been magnificent. A shout out to the other two boys as well, Charith Asalanka and Pathum Nissanka. Got engaged as well day before, and good to see all three boys were at training yesterday. Straight away from Colombo. Final training session, very important series, very important game. Turning out to the country. Straight away coming down. Shot this time, but unlucky. Ibrahim Zadran, I thought for a second that was a 4 written all over it.
Well, if marriage can give Kasun Rajitha an extra 5Ks in a couple of days, maybe I should have got married early in my career. Would have got a few more runs maybe under the belt. And congratulations to all three of those Sri Lankan players. Do wish them all the best. Oh, it's a slow one. Swell the wrists down the side of the ball to end the 12th over. 48 for 2. For 2. Sri Lankan bowlers have been pretty decent today. 4 bowlers used. Rajitha, the one with the 2 wickets, 16 runs in his 5 overs. And then the 5th bowler to be used today will be Dhananjaya Silva. 31 years of age, into his 63rd match, a wealth of experience. Doesn't bowl all that often. 34 wickets, a best of 3 for 32, was quite handy with the ball. in that second one-day international, 1 for 37 in his 10.
Interestingly, the previous game, Dhananjaya Silva bowled his quota of 10 overs on the trot from the opposite end, which is the Hunasgirian. But in this game, skipper Dasun Shanaka bringing him into the attack from the Vikil Gaskada end, which is the media box end. A slip and a short mid-wicket catching is the two catching positions for Dhananjaya Silva against the left-handed Shahidi. And that's what he's going to do. Fired in, an occasional delivery turn away just to create that doubt to the left-hander.
This is the ideal situation for Ashmatullah Shahidi. He's a man who comes and takes his time, likes to maneuver the ball into the gaps. There's the spin as well, and looks to accelerate a bit later on in the innings. He hasn't really had an opportunity to bat long in the two matches that were played. This is perfect for him. But much better to be batting with than Ibrahim Zadran, who's done extremely well for himself in the series as well so far. 100 in the first game.
And also, I think Dasun Shanaka will be telling his troops this is the partnership. Ibrahim Zadran has scored 100 in the first game. Shahidi looked decent in the two games. The hits what he has had. If Sri Lanka can squeeze in another wicket here and get Najibullah Zadran at number 5 early as possible, that will be a lot of pressure on settled batsmen to try and get a decent score on the scoreboard. Pegging in there, bowling those dot deliveries eventually is going to create that pressure. And that's where I think Dasun Shanaka's captaincy will be tested. How much is he willing to attack these two batsmen?
50 up in the 13th over. I think he's going to be very handy once again today, Dhananjaya de Silva. Looking at the pitch, the way it's played, and taking a bit of turn, I think that'll be ideal for him. And that looks like Wanindu Hasaranga looking to stop the single at short extra cover, doesn't manage to do so. 51 for 2. Healthy start in that first 10 overs, a few overs past that 6 mark, but since then spinners into the attack, and the same trend that's happened in the first couple of matches has carried on. Scoring rate has slowed down. Spinners have been very effective after the first power play. Kasun and Rajitha. Swaps ends now. Let's have a look at this. This is the batting summary of the first ODI. Afghanistan, of course, batted first. Look at how many ones and twos they got. 126 ones, 17 twos, compared to Sri Lanka's 73 singles and 7 twos. That, from the batting perspective, was the difference between those two sides.
The boundary count 29 to Afghanistan and 31 for Sri Lanka. That's mainly because of the counter-attacking game being played by Wanindu Hasaranga latter part of the innings. And he had to go, all the top order batsmen have fallen in the first 15 overs or so. The batsman in the middle order had to go hard, and that's why the boundary count is much more in the Sri Lankan innings, though Sri Lanka lost by 60 runs. These ODI games, it's not about hitting 4s and 6 every time. It's about maneuvering the singles, pushing 1 into 2s, 2s into 3s, putting the pressure on the fielders. It's a bit of a masterclass done by the Afghanistan team. I use that word especially. I remember the energy being shown by most of the batsmen running between wickets. So I think first game was a brilliant game. The batting group of Afghanistan to score 290 in those conditions.
Down the leg side. Done well, Kusal Mendis to get a glove onto that. Could very easily have gone through to the boundary. Umpire signaling wide.
Definitely, clearly saved 3 runs there, Kusal Mendis, who has been quite decent behind the stumps. All 3 ODIs, he has been quite steady. A senior pro nowadays. Seen Dasun Shanaka talking to him a lot regarding tactics, and as a wicketkeeper he sees most of the things what a general fielder doesn't see. So that's where I think the communication between a captain and the wicketkeeper is very, very important. This is good batting, very good batting. So just a quick yes, and off they go. It's all about taking the singles and putting the pressure. This fantastic stuff by Afghanistan.
This is the running between the wickets that we're talking about. Good understanding between the two of them. That's well bowled. He's done well to get under that. He doesn't like the short ball, especially at his body, Hashmatullah Shahidi. And not a bad option.
Right on the money, isn't it? It's good bounce, good pace, good height. This was last game was run out. Shen Bandara, the substitute fielder. This good thinking by Kusal Mendis. Waited until the batsman crossed and took the bails off. And this was Dhananjaya running the captain off. The direct hit. Shot again, but neatly played by skipper Shahidi towards third man for a single. 14 gone, Afghanistan 57 for 2.
$57 for 2. Afghanistan slow and steady. Oh, given. Down the wicket, and then he was in no man's land. Hashmatullah Shahidi wants to ask for it, but I don't think it's gonna come back in his favor.
TV umpire to director, we have a player review for LBW. Original decision is out. It's a fair delivery. Start with the front on spin vision, please. Give me the ultra edge to check whether any bat in or there, please. Waiting for ultra edge, Nathan. Okay. Ultra edge is coming. Keep it rolling through. Keep it rolling through. Keep it rolling through. Keep it rolling through. Yes. No bat involved. Bat line as the ball passes the bat. Satisfied. Ball tracker when it is ready, please. Ball tracking is coming. Hitting outside of impact in line. Wickets hitting. Go back on field umpire. Nitin, please. Nitin, you can stay with your original decision of out. You are on camera.
Yeah, it looked out. Down are the days when you use your feet and the umpires tend to hold back. They're a lot more confident with DRS to back them up. Now this is a massive blow. It's Afghanistan's captain Shahidi gone for 4, 57 for 3. The umpires have taken the opportunity to call the drinks onto the park. Lanka striking on the verge of drinks. A big one. That was the captain. Left his crease a little too early. Dhananjaya De Silva holding back. This is the first one to fall. No feet movement. Ramanullah Gurbas, the first to go. Cross seamer, short one. Hands through the ball very early. Remacha couldn't get his gloves out of the way in time. Rajitha picking up his second. And there you go. It looked very straight. It looked out. Brilliant decision from umpire Nitin Menon. Just when Afghanistan needed a partnership, they've lost 3.
Afghanistan losing a review and at the same time losing the wicket, and that too of the captain Ashmatullah Shahidi. Ibrahim Zadran, the man standing there still fighting on 23, and Najibullah Zadran will be joining him. So quite a lot of work for the middle order of Afghanistan to do, but the batting has been sensational, Russell.
Rajitha, brilliant again, 2 for 22. Dhananjaya De Silva, whenever he comes into it, it's a massive bonus for Dasun Shanaka. So useful.
Yeah, it's been really a good display of bowling from Sri Lankans.
Another beautiful evening here in paradise. Visit Sri Lanka, experience the calmness. Well, that's what Afghanistan need at the moment, some calm in the middle, a partnership. Ibrahim Zadran. Oh, it's left to the Zadrans. Najibullah is the new man. We really haven't seen the ball turn. That's runs. 4 runs to Zadran. Hasaranga having a go, trying to catch Ibrahim Zadran short of his crease. Well, you can't blame anyone for not backing that one up. It happened so quickly.
Look at Najibullah Zadran out there in the middle with a strike rate of 90, but more to do with the fact that he'll need to stay down there in the middle. His average is 30, but he'll have to convert it higher and stay there for a longer period of time.
The last ball. Direct hit, there's another wicket, that's for sure. Hasaranga taking his chances. Overthrows, but it was worth the go for me. Different wicket, slightly on the slower side, sluggish. Not a lot of grass, but looked dry, and you can see that stroke play is a little tougher. Maneuvering the gaps. The previous over, our co-commentators were talking about the number of singles and twos in that first ODI. Much better batting pitch. The ball was coming on. And in these conditions, working the gaps is a little harder. And hence, you will not find as many singles on offer. You've got to pick your spots, take your chances, and look for the boundary on few more occasions in conditions like this.
Afghanistan might think that they have done one thing right for this game, and that is the addition of Nur Ahmad Lakhanwal. Seeing how the wicket is behaving, and we saw in the previous game how Dhananjaya De Silva even got a good purchase of the surface. So that will really help Afghanistan. Other than that, Sri Lanka has really put a good hold on the innings of Afghanistan so far.
That's the end of the 15th. It's 63 for 3. Run making has been harder today, but a little bit of a bother in the middle. Dhananjaya Silva, who dived across trying to stop that last delivery, is still on the ground, clutching on to that right shoulder of his. Falls awkwardly. And he stays down. He's still down for the count. Just that the umpire still not got to 10. I wonder why.
I hope it's nothing serious. He's one that Sri Lanka will be looking at to finish his overs.
Hashmatullah Shahidi leading up to the dismissal. Look at the speeds. Look at the angles that Dhananjaya Silva uses. And then he fires one in. He sees him coming and he's able to make that adjustment. Great change of pace from Dhananjaya Silva, and he knows it. He wants everyone to know about it.
It's actually a sight for new learners to see, and even the players to see how you set the batsman up. So with one pace of 80-85, you were bowling to Hashmatullah Shahidi, and right at one moment you fire it in at 90, an arm ball. So that's how you set a batsman up and get the wicket, and you will deserve it. He's been bowling well.
He's off for the moment. 2 overs from him. He's got a wicket. They'll need him back there. Such a useful asset, Dhananjaya Silva. You mentioned the change Afghanistan made. Noor Ahmed into the team. Sri Lankans know about him. He's played in the LPL. Massive role in the Under-19 World Cup earlier in the year, Noor. Sri Lanka made 2 changes. Asitha Fernando is one of them for Lahiru Kumara. And Dhananjaya Lakshan replaced by a spinner of their own, the Under-19 captain, Dunit Wellalage. The Lankan Premier League starting next week on the 6th. We start down in Hambantota, back up to Pallekele on the 10th, and we finish up in Colombo on the 23rd of December. Footwork is crucial. And right through this series, we've noticed batters playing through the line, scoring runs, and when they get into good positions, they're able to control their shots. But we talk so much about footwork, and sometimes they get caught in their crease, just throw their hands, and not in the best of positions to actually hit the ball where they're thinking of. That's why it's so important to move, adjust your weight, and play through it. Now this is what we spotted right throughout this series. Watch their feet and hands. Lots of inside edges onto the stumps. Just throwing your hands at it. They're all caught on the crease. Never in a position to control it. And this was today, Gurbaz. That's the importance of moving your feet and your weight towards that ball.
Yeah, and they're playing so much away from their body. That's the reason why they create these chances for the bowlers. It's really important that you shuffle across your crease, you follow the ball, you stand still, your head is still, and that you have sound footwork and foot movement towards the ball to put the body weight behind the ball to be able to give extra force over onto the ball and get yourself boundaries and scores.
Yeah, the transfer of weight, and that's what footwork allows you to do, so that your weight goes towards that ball and through the shot. Thought that was leg side-ish, but umpire Hannibals has a glance towards Nitin Menon and thought it was over leg stump. Asitha Fernando has been decent so far into his 4th over, been brisk. Back of a length has been effective. A length that a lot of fast bowlers here in Pallekele reap rewards of. moves are made over. Lots of maiden overs these few days. 63 for 3. Three for 3 after 3, under 4 the run rate. And the communication has to be good between the Afghan batsers. Why I say that is, you assess the conditions, you look at what's in front of you. You look at what you have as a team. You got 3 quality spinners. You brought in Noor Ahmed, so how many runs do you need and how are you going to get there?
Yeah, you just got it right. Make it 4. So you have Noor Ahmed Lakhanwal playing in today's game as well. But then again, look at your run rate. Under 4 is going to give you under 200 only. So you need to accelerate at some point of time a little bit. So keep your eye on the money. Like, keep your eye on the prize. What do you want? Something around 230 to 40.
What's that number? What's that number? That's the initial question. It's after that, how are we going to get there?
I like for them having the discussion in the middle that they set themselves a target. This is how much we want to get.
How much do you think that is?
I think at this stage they would be saying, let's do around 230, 240. And then believe in yourself in the pitch as well. The fact that you have 4 spinners playing.
5 and over from here gets you to that mark. And that can be done risk-free. Back till about the 30th, 35th, reassess how you go from there. 55 balls since the last boundary. It's not easy to play our shots as you'd like. So you've got to be big deeper.
100%. Stay out there in the middle. But yes, it's been more than 50 balls, 56 balls since you have hit your last boundary. So that'll put some pressure on you.
Three singles off the De Silva over. Make that 2 and 2. So 4 off it. That was good running to end the 17th. 67 for 3. Yeah, I'm with you. 230, 240 will definitely give Sri Lanka a lot to think of with Rashid, Mujib and Noor. Now we were talking about footwork in the previous over. Here's a different view. Look at where the feet go. Look at where the weight is. It's nowhere. Those same deliveries from a different angle. That transfer of weight and getting into position, ever so important.
Yeah, and it shows you the vulnerability. Like, you could see it so well from the angle. How much as a batter it makes you vulnerable to get in the edges and ricochets back onto the stumps.
Over the most runs Afghanistan have got from a single over today has just been 6.
And that's because you've lost Rahmanullah Gurbaz at the beginning, and he's a prolific, he's a big hitter.
And I think Sri Lanka have done a good change in bringing Asitha Fernando. He gives the captain a lot more control, unlike Lahiru Kumara, who gives you pace, but a bit wavered and a lot more scoring opportunities. Kasun Rajitha getting the ball to move, but They've done the basics well. That's why Afghanistan have had to work a lot harder. No freebies, nothing to hit.
It's just that you need to continue with that. You start with a discipline and you end it with the discipline that you started. So you definitely want to put the pressure, and it may, see, it's a big game for Sri Lanka. It's in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka will want to draw this series.
Of course, there's a lot of pride involved. And then when it comes down to winning series, Super League points, it's building a team. That's where Sri Lanka are at. I'd like to keep taking steps in the right direction rather than having to take steps backwards. At least a couple. He's hit it well though. Oh dear, oh dear. Asalanka did all the work to get to it but failed to keep it inside. So that boundary that they've not been able to find for a long time comes their way.
Yeah, that's actually good effort, but finally spoiled. Haven't let the ball go because he did all the hard work, ran around 20 yards.
Since the 8th over, the first boundary. Well, you mentioned how important it will be for Sri Lanka, but what does this mean for Afghanistan? 1-0 up in the series, automatic qualification for the next World Cup. A series win.
And this is the first time ever Afghanistan is directly qualifying to the One-Day International World Cup. So that's already a big feast for Afghanistan. But they will definitely want to finish it on a high and win the series and take the trophy home. So, unfortunately, they didn't get the start they wanted. They have been slow, but they know how the wicket is behaving. So this part of the game is really crucial. If Sri Lanka can chip in with another 1 or 2 wickets, Afghanistan will really be in trouble. But if they give a good platform to Mohammad Nabi, who's been in a good touch, I tell you, he scored 40 runs, more than 40 runs in the earlier game. So you could tell that Afghanistan might get to a defending kind of total of 230, 240 and above.
$18 gone, 73 for 3. Well, we have 7 teams that have already gained automatic qualification. That 8th spot up for grabs. West Indies, Ireland, Sri Lanka, South Africa, all battling for it. West Indies have no more games. Sri Lanka go to New Zealand next. That's going to be hard. They basically need to win 3 out of 4. That includes today as well, to get above West Indies, who are currently at 8th position. Ireland have a series against Bangladesh. South Africa, they've forfeited games against Australia, but that'll give them 5 more. 2 against Netherlands and 3 against England. So a lot to play for that 8th spot. South Africa can't take things lightly against the Dutch either. They lost to them in the T20 World Cup recently, which dumped them out of the tournament. We can't take anything for granted these days. What's the reception back home in Afghanistan? Is it watched? Is it followed? What are the fans thinking? What are the people thinking?
Huge, huge. It's crazy how much people love cricket in Afghanistan. And why not? It is played across the country in different zones. You see they have divided it into the different zones that cover all the country. The Misi Ainak region, the Bande Amir region, the Spinghar region, the Ammu region, Bost region. So that's like a full coverage in the country. And how the youngsters are coming in looking at the previous players like who's played in the past as an inspiration, current players, Rashid Khan's been a big sensation inside Afghanistan, of course outside Afghanistan, Mujib Zadran, Muhammad Nabi. So it's a big thing in Afghanistan.
They're picking up singles with more ease at the moment, these two. 19 gone, 78 for 3. Dots working a lot harder. The Afghan batsmen in no hurry. Get a foundation right. There's 31 overs remaining to try and get yourself up to 240, which gives you a very good chance to win this series. They of course can't lose the series, but they'd like to have that first win. For the first time today, Wanindu Hasaranga. Clip in place. I like that. Look for wickets. That's the way to contain this powerful Afghan batting lineup. A lot warmer today than a couple of days ago, or we had for the first ODI, the temperature. Decent crowd. It certainly will build up as the lights take effect and it gets a lot cooler. Hit hard, hit straight, got an opportunity. And how well did he play it? Fast hands from one of the Zadrans.
I like the way you put it. Zadrans out there in the middle, they'll be enjoying it, but this one, pitched up, full of ball. Ibrahim's, oh, that was full toss. Turning into a chance almost. Asaranga could have caught it back. Away from his reach in a boundary.
Trying to buy a wicket, Hasaranga. Tossed it up, got the length wrong. Zadran on strike, Zadran on non-striker, and how many more in the dugout?
Good question. Make me think.
Quietly, that run rate building now, it's up to 4.25. I'd say the way to go is build this partnership 3-4 and over for the next 10, then reassess. 7 off the Hasaranga over, the most expensive over of the day so far, 85 for 3. For 3. We'll see some more spin from Dhananjaya. Afghan batsmen haven't really been hitting too many boundaries. Just 9 fours in the innings, but plenty of singles.
But they've also played a fair bit of dot balls here, 71 already. Just clearing that front foot, angle down to long off. That has been the pattern of play. It's a pretty hot afternoon or hot evening at Pallekele, the sun's shining. It's humid as well. A partnership, Ibrahim holding the fort here, 37 of 53. Evening, Ma.
Evening to you, Roshan. Sri Lanka putting the screws on. Dhananjaya Silva continuing his good form from the previous game into his 5th over. Just the right length, slowing things down. No chance here, direct hit. Would have been very, very close. Najibullah Zadran responding to the call of the striker. And Charith Asalanka. If he had hit directly, just had the feeling it would have been curtains for Najibullah.
Yeah, direct hits are always tight. But how tight do you think this is? Yeah, it would have been tight. He was creasing the bat, it would have been touch and go. But it's important to get those direct hits in. What Dhananjaya has done is he looked to fire the ball in. Well, there's another look. Let's see. Yes, he was gone. Direct hit was gone. For sure. In fact, it's not as tight as what I thought. Oh, off a leading edge. Just looking to work it away on the onside. 87 for 3.
Wanindu Hasaranga into his 2nd over. Ibrahim Zadran going steady for Afghanistan, 38 of 55 deliveries. Nicely bowled by Wanindu. Just outside the off stump. The last ball, the last over by Dhananjaya Silva. This gripped a bit. And this is where I think the batsman's doubt when it comes to playing against the turn will creep up. I mentioned in my previous stint, this is what the pitch will offer for the spinners in the middle overs. Once it loses the hardness of the ball, it's going to be tougher for the batsman, especially with Dhananjaya Silva. Roshan, you mentioned about bowling it quicker. This is where he's really smart. And the one that he's going to hold it and give it a lift air, that's going to turn. Just as we spoke, Najibullah driving through the up and almost been caught at mid-off. It's not going to be easy for the batsman now onwards.
Well, this is how Najibullah was dismissed in the previous one. Just looked to swing it away on the onside, inside edge. But just back to Hasaranga, he slowed it down quite a bit. Now he's under 80. He's in the high 70s, so he's searching for some turn. You spoke about grip. He's looking to bowl slower. He's looking for some turn. Wants a single here. Good running. Very good running. Very good running. But he's got to direct hit in. The umpire has gone upstairs. It's a direct hit, so let's see.
The striker said, give me the best angle, please. Keep it rolling through. Yes, batsman made his ground. I have decision to the Giants play.
Yeah, the decision has to be not out, but a good effort by Charith Asalanka and short extra cover. He had to throw as he looked to turn on the run. It wasn't easy. He had to aim and also make sure that he hit the stumps on the full, which he did. But the batter had got home quickly.
Indeed, I thought it was a good running by the two Zadrans. Straight away, Dasun Shanaka putting the pressure on the right hand, bringing long on into the circle mid-on. Asking the batsman to go against the turn. Challenge was thrown and immediately accepted. And deposited few rows back for a massive sick. So end the 22nd over. Afghanistan 95 for 3.
And 95 for 3. 22 overs gone. That rate of scoring is up to 4.32. This is that last ball. That's the wrong end. Bowled slower. Obviously, Wanindu Hasaranga looking for a wicket. But the question is, he bowled well in that over. Maheesh just two dot balls. Was it necessary really to try and look for a wicket of the last ball? You get mid-on in, tossing it up. You would want to finish the over well.
I think this is where the game awareness comes into play, Roshan. You bowl 5 balls, just giving away 2 runs. Brilliant over. And either it's a miscommunication between Wanindu and Dasun to have the mid-on up. And Wanindu bowling a googly and giving it a bit of air. You mentioned about trying to take a wicket, which I thought you were spot on. Was trying to take a wicket, understandably, but whether there was a lack of communication among the captain and the bowler. Because clearly after the delivery was bowled, Wanindu was talking to Dasun Shanaka about the long on fielder. So I think these are the little things that can change the result of a game. Ibrahim Zadran, we know as a good player, scored 100 in the first game. He has got a good start. If Sri Lanka to get some inroads into this batting lineup and go to the late middle order of Afghanistan, this is a crucial wicket. So the game awareness in that fine delivery is nowhere near what we need in international cricket, Roshan.
The partnership is now looking threatening. They've added 41 runs in quick time. And this is over number 23. Don't forget, Ibrahim doesn't have a half century in his career, but he's got 200s. He's on 46. And the good thing is that he's looking to play straight. He's not looking to play across. Oh, very nearly a second, a bit of a fumble. But Theekshana recovered quickly. They're just looking to pick mid-off and mid-on, playing straight. And they're playing risk-free cricket. Just a bit of bubble out of the hand. Just managed to recover. 4 runs of 5 balls. That will be very well cut off. For a moment I thought it might be 4. Good work in the deep by Maheesh Theekshana. 6 more runs in the over. It's 100 for Afghanistan. 23 overs completed.
Second 50 coming in, just 62 deliveries. Thanks mainly to Ibrahim Zadran and Najibullah Zadran, who has been quite magnificent for Afghanistan. Slightly confusion in the middle as Captain Dasun Shanaka is waiting for his premier bowler. Wanindu Hasaranga went in for over after the previous over. Did not return in time. Hence, looks like skipper Dasun Shanaka himself is going to take the responsibility of bowling few overs, maybe 2-3 overs. Long. The fine leg fielder is in the circle. Asitha Fernando, deep square leg. A deep mid wicket. Mid on in the circle. Fine leg in the circle. Oh, some swing. That will be encouraging to Dasun Shanaka to get a slip field, Roshan.
Well, what would encourage me, Maheesh, is to see him bowl more. I like to see Dasun Shanaka. I really like to see him bowl more, to be honest, because He's at the moment playing just as a batter, but he needs to bowl more. He needs to add that extra option to the Sri Lankan side. And if he could bowl a few overs. Off an inside edge. That was straighter. Just looking to push it away. That ball, I think, stayed down a bit.
Spot on with you there, Roshan. We've been talking a lot about Dasun Shanaka's role in this team. And someone who has the ability to bowl well in international cricket, hardly uses himself, especially today with Sri Lanka making the change of dropping Dhananjaya and bringing the young left-arm spinner Pallekele into the team. One would have expected Dasun Shanaka to bowl more. As we saw in the first delivery bowl, there was some swing. And as a bowler, all you need is some sort of help, maybe a bit of bounce, some swing or seam movement to get that encouragement to bowl few overs. And hopefully that first delivery would prompt Dasun Shanaka to get a decent spell in and to get that confidence high.
Is that a captain's thing? I know there are certain captains who are a little bit reluctant to bowl themselves. Of course, on the other side of the coin also, where captains tend to over-bowl themselves. But Dasun Shanaka seemed to be the latter. He's a bit reluctant to bowl himself, which is, I think, not the right thing to do. There are times that he needs to bowl in T20 cricket. He should be ready to bowl 4 overs, I think. Has to be an option in T20 cricket. In 50-over cricket, at least 5 to 6 overs should be from him, coming from him all the time.
The luxury what Sri Lanka will have if Dasun Shanaka continuously bowls and fills in these overs is to have that position of a Pallekele or a Dhananjaya in this series. They could always look into a batsman as well in case if the batting needs strengthening in the middle order. So I think Dasun Shanaka's role when it comes to bowling short this time, no second invitation needed. Najibullah Zadran very strong in the back foot. It was a nothing delivery, a drag down. And this is what Dasun Shanaka cannot do. Drag down when there's some movement, pitch it up and get the maximum out of it. But this occasion, more than trying a short ball, Roshan, I just thought it was a drag down.
Yeah, absolutely. He got his length wrong, completely wrong, and at his pace, which is just close to 125, it becomes easy. Needs to bowl a much tighter line and length. Last ball of the over. Play and a miss. That's much better. Just pushed it across the left-hander. 106 for 3. Right, Ibrahim on 48, a partnership of 49 runs of 59 balls. 106 for 3, almost touching the halfway mark. 24 overs completed. Afghanistan have been good in the way they have upped the tempo. That run rate is now at 4.42. There was a time that they were tied down by the spinners. Boundaries were hard to come by, but now they've been 10 fours and a 6. Theekshana. It'll chip over the bowler. They'll want 2 here, but they'll be happy with 1. That's another substitute, I think. It's Wanindu Fernando's on the field, so quite a few substitutes.
Wanindu Fernando, wearing number 27, one of the iconic numbers. A legend of the game of Sri Lanka used to wear before. Smaila Javardhana. Good bit of feeling there. I thought for a second there was a second run possible. But the tall, lanky batsman came across and made sure it was only a single. Mid-on up, short mid-wicket, short extra cover, a deep short extra cover and a cover point. Like more of a third manish. Nicely played again by the left-hander Najibullah Zadran. It's good stuff by Afghanistan. Slowly but surely putting the pressure back on this Sri Lankan attack.
Selfie time. They'll have this. I was there the 3rd game. Sri Lanka versus Afghanistan, they might say. Pushed, and that's his 50. Very well played by Ibrahim. Excellent innings. Going with his 200s. Well, his conversion rate is very good and his average is up. It's over 50. His first half century, he's got 200s. And what a player he's promising to be for Afghanistan. A very correct player. Great temperament as well.
There's a sign of a good player is to convert those starts. He has done it before. 200s to his name, and looks like in well control to get his third as well. Rightly so. Applauded by the dressing room of Afghanistan. Looks Mohammad Nabi. A fantastic player he has been for Afghanistan. Due to probably come next. This good batting. Playing it straight, as you said, Roshan. Playing down the line, playing down the way. Risk-free cricket at the moment.
Yeah, that's what they've done well. What is good about this game of the Afghan batters is that they have got the singles. They've not spared any deliveries. They've looked for singles all the time. And when the bad ball comes along, they also get more runs than a single. Another single. So they've got 6 of the over. It's 112 for 3 at the halfway stage. Right, the buildings are getting gradually bigger. They're starting to come up with some bigger ones. Look at the buildings from about the 18th over up to about the 25th. The buildings are consistent. They are taller. Afghanistan batters struggled a bit. Wanindu is back at the far end. Just looping it up. Taking a lot of pace off the ball to the left-hander. He's bowling to 3 men on the leg side boundary. Short mid-wicket and a short square leg. Mid-off inside the circle, which is a good one, with the left hand on strike. Wanindu Hasaranga looking to bowl the leg break more often. That will be a challenge for the left-hander to try and go over mid-off if he can. They're asking that question. Lyndon Hannibal's hand goes up, or the finger goes up. Najibullah doesn't believe it. It appears to be outside the off stump, or just outside the off. I don't know, that's what I thought. But they have now gone upstairs.
We have a player review for LBW. Original decision is out, and it's a fair delivery. Starting the front on spin mission, please. Ball was close to the bat. I need Ultra to check whether any bat or glove involved there, please. Waiting for Ultra Edge in that. Still waiting. Copy that. Still waiting, Linden. Right is coming. Keep it rolling through, keep it rolling through, keep it rolling through, keep it rolling through. Can you take it back, director? Some more frames, take it back, okay, move forward now, move forward. Can you freeze it there, please? Can you freeze it when the ball is next to the gloves, please? Yes, there is a clear spike as the ball next to the bat. Go back to on-field umpire, please. Linden, there is a clear spike as the ball next to the bat. You need to change your decision.
Well, that's an interesting one. But I honestly didn't see a spike. I mean, umpire Military has seen a spike. I have no problem with it. He's the decision maker. And I'm not here to in any way question him. But I honestly didn't see a spike. Did you see it, Maheesh?
I mean, the spike was quite consistent right throughout. When the ball was passing the batsman, it was right there. A bit of a tough one to take for a moment. I thought the decision will stand by, but in the end, as you said, the umpire has the last say and the responsibility of making that decision. But for me, it was a very, very tight one and could have gone either way.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I agree with you about that spike being consistent. It was not at the point where the ball was passing the glove. I think the spike was on for a while. So, well, it's tough, as you say. In short, I would say I don't want to be the third umpire. Right, Sri Lanka needed that wicket. They needed that wicket badly. Quick single, just pushing it into the gap. Yeah, but Sri Lanka needed that wicket. Sri Lanka needed it. It looked good. It looked good.
Rightly so. I think the frustration has been shown by Wanindu, and even Dasun Shanaka off the camera was quite adamant. And I feel the sadness there for the bowler and the captain. But in the end, the umpire's call is the last call. We got to move on. And for a moment, I thought Najibullah Zadran was very, very lucky to be out there still.
Yeah, he looked to be in trouble for sure. Now they're far more watchful. You could see Najibullah Zadran just not looking to play shots, but watching Wanindu Hasaranga very closely. Look to play him defensively, just the singles. The previous overs, they were looking to take him on. There's another dot ball. It's 114 for 3.